Hello, dear friends and family, including students and tutors. I'm gonna be showing you this video about the rest of my 10 years from now on concerning my graduation as a start. So let's start. Sorry if I looked interested, I am not. Aha, apologies accepted. This is going to be a very long, very interesting video to me. For you, I don't know. But, as usual, it is using comprehensive visual metaphors and it is going to show you a way to maybe systemize and reveal to yourself how you can go about understanding your own life and the steps you're gonna take in 10 years. Wow, 10 years. That's a lot. Who has their upcoming 10 years planned? If you don't, follow this account and maybe you'll learn something. I'm gonna be honest, it's not 10 years that I planned here. This is just the start, the kickstart of my 10 years. Look at how incredibly freaking small those letters are. How in the world are we going to be able to read that? I will tell you how will we be able with some glasses. Okay, let's start. Let's start. So I'm just gonna start with the first thing that I started drawing, and that is this circle. And this circle now is a snake, which is an ancient symbol, eating its own tail. And the meaning of that, we're gonna come back later to that, but it's referring to self-sustainability tactics. It started out with this big circle, and in this circle there are different subjects that are relevant to me within my graduation project that I have to kind of combine and collectively present so they don't seem as fragmented, because my graduation project is actually about the inclusiveness of my own whole life on all aspects in order to live for the next 10 years as a multimedia troubadour, totally free, creatively, mentally, spiritually, and physically, as much as that can be. Because the Vedikaya alumni has told in several presentations that life as a freestyler, no, not a freestyler, life as a freelancer is actually really not that free. You have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of tasks that you have to do that you don't really like, and you're gonna be doing a lot of jobs that you really don't really want to do according to your dream and your sole purpose. That's not how they put it, dream and sole purpose, but they told me that you're gonna have a lot of side jobs that you won't like. So, I don't believe that. My soul has been guiding me last year already and preparing me all my life to see my alternative path. And I'm gonna represent that in real time, in real life. But now I'm still planning and I'm gonna present my planning. All right. So we have here the archive of all my projects, all the things that I have been planning, all the stories that I've written, all the diaries, all the performances, all the songs, etc., etc. Everything that's in the archive, not published yet in one way or another, not shared. Here there's me like a jester, like a kind of like a playful troubadour. It's like this archetype that is preparing the acts and the content. Here we see a suitcase, which is representing the suitcase with all my riches that I get to share with the world. When I was 14, I wrote a beautiful poem that has been coming back to me in relevance time after time, and it's in Dutch. But I will share. I will try to translate it. 1 second, I'm gonna get it. Carpe diem. I'm translating in real time here. To experience the world, I don't need to travel the world. It's not gonna rhyme, probably. To experience the world, I don't need to travel the world. First, become aware of the ground beneath your feet. Everyone is craving so much to go travel with an empty suitcase. You're going on a travel just to get things. But whenever you bring something to share, you can never get lost. Marry yourself as your only luggage, and then the biggest adventure is going to start. So in the next chapter, you'll be able to wander around until the last evening hour. Come on, it was not that bad. Come on, Chiburashka. Look, this is my cameraman and he's not really working together with me. Come on. You can do it. Yes. So where were we? A journey through a journey through my own thoughts. A travel through the deepest senses of my being. I don't know what to expect. The thoughts in my silence, that's what I like. First I shall fill up my suitcase, and then maybe I won't even go on a travel. But whenever you have collected a lot, that's the moment you are truly wise. Ian Merkel. So I wrote that when I was 13, 14, something like that. And it's essentially telling the story of how I believed at the time that to experience the world, we don't need to travel the world. And whenever you go out, travel to the world with an empty suitcase, you don't really have something authentic to bring. Something that is truly you, and you will be kind of lost later in your life, because the most essential part of your life, where you found yourself and your roots, you went out traveling to other places, seeking for another form of identity or quality or value. Not saying that travel is bad, but that is how I was looking at life at the time. And now I find myself in a place where I collected a lot of things. Thank you, camera Chiburashka. Oh. Chiburashka doesn't want to participate anymore. So that is my initial idea, right? My starting point of view, this poem. And now I believe I'm old enough and I've collected enough things in my suitcase to actually go out into the world and experience the world and share my riches and get inspired again, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So the subjects I'm gonna be including into my research project is the archive of all the work that I have, the acts and content which I will be publishing and sharing and developing, my troubadour car, because that will be the center point of everything that I do, representing everything that I do in a holistic way in an artistic identity of the troubadour. So build and work on the car and develop it for occasions. Every time I'm invited to go somewhere, to do something, to share something, just by networking, I will have the opportunity to do it and to focus on my car to develop it to that specific occasion and context. And thus I will develop or tune my artistic content to the context that I am situated in. I will be looking into crowdfunding to my food and life, which is my accommodation, just my basic needs basically. Money and finance. How does a troubadour finance himself? With funding, with crowdfunding, and there are different subjects that, like, there's all written out here, all the details of these things, but I don't think we're gonna get into that in this video because it's not gonna bore you. I know that for a fact, because it is all these amazing insights and life hacks into ways to make money and how to be happy and how to connect with your soul, blah 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 blah. But you'll have to check the content that I will be creating after this video. Alright, I'm gonna be making a map, mapping out my networking as a troubadour, because a troubadour obviously travels around the kingdom, and I will be mapping out all those places, going from digital spaces, digital communities, digital networks, digital platforms, real life places, not in that order, other way around. People, communities, venues, just the streets, friends, family, natural resources that a troubadour might need on their travel with their cargo bike. Editing and documenting. So, this is basically my safe space in my graduation year. This is my first year of the 10-year. This is my graduation year, and it is my home from which it's my cave, from which I will develop. Look, this is the archetype, the developer. It's me with the glasses. Like this. Developer. So, the developer, the dreamer, the crazy artist, and the builder. That is all what happens within this bubble. And it's the energy of water, creative energy, essentially. And it's this bubble, and this snake around it is representing self-sustainability tactics. It's my stable home, this. And what are my tactics in order to have like a healthy creative environment and flow in this space? It is a holistic practice and routine, like self-conscious practices such as tarot or diarying. I need, of course, good food, good water, early sleep, early wake. I need to dare to do things, have courage, art reflections, just like this right now. Organization of the cave, mentally and physically. That's gonna be quite a challenge. But we're doing our best right now already. So this is the snake that's basically feeding in a loop on itself. That's why it's sustainable. The snake doesn't really have any other food, doesn't need any other food than itself. That is why it's sustainable, right? And it's just eating as much as it's growing at the same time. So that is why it's also sustainable. It's not eating itself fully up totally. Might be a scenario where that happens. Ian, the developer, you're going to eat yourself up. That's dangerous. But not going to happen here. Right. So different symbols here that we will get later to. Some smoke and some symbols of the elements here. But we will get to that a bit later. Also, we see here an animal. It's a hermit. No, this is the hermit archetype, and here's the Scorpio. But we will get that later. So this is my cave, and this is the opening to the cave. And what happens whenever I go to the opening of the cave, I go out into the world and I share my riches. I share my content. Hey, a beer. I'm gonna get to that later. I go travel with my suitcase, and in the meantime, I'm doing my diarying. That is, it's gonna be very important for me to do that, and you'll understand later why. Here is a fountain, and the fountain is representing the thing that I have built, which is the troubadour car, for creative energy to flow. Fire, which is this triangle, as well as water, creative energy to flow. And we're all dancing here around this place, celebrating basically in real life the creative preparation that I've done here, and that we're celebrating all together in this place. Because a fountain is a place where people come together, right? And water is creative energy, so that's what it's representing. Now, then, here's the water of creative energy, and also the fire, which is new inspiration. So this new inspiration I note in my diary. I travel, and I travel back home to the cave. Then what happens? If I traveled back home, we have fire plus water. These are the symbols. Fire plus water. What does fire plus water make? It makes smoke. And that is alright, that is okay, but it's also dangerous, because if in this ecosystem there's too much smoke, it's gonna make it look around to actually still see what is going on. Because what this is metaphorically representing is, I tested my creative ambition in the real world, but then I got so much new inspiration that I actually embraced, cultivated, and brought back home, that this fire is going to burn out my old creative idea. It's going to evaporate it, basically, create a lot of smoke, and then I'm not able to see again what am I actually doing, because I just went from there to there to there to there because of this random fire inspiration. So it's about mediating those qualities and those entities, those elements. Now, what happens if this smoke becomes too much? We have to make sure that it doesn't get to the acts and content creator, because then it's gonna get into his head, and this is like the air, because the air is of the mind. He's thinking, he's writing, just like me, writing, and creating, taking all that fire and that water inspiration and creating something totally new again, and that is going to make a big explosion of new things, and that's basically going to destroy the whole ecosystem, which we just set up so nicely with our projects and knowing what we were doing, what we were building and working on with our car. So what do we need to do? We need to cut. The sword is representing the element of the air. So we cut through this routine, this daily routine of developing content, going out and coming back, developing content, going out. We cut through the snake, break through the routine, and get into the archetype of the observer. This is me, the observer with the third eye over here. That is actually reflecting on the 10-year plan. It's the eagle looking from above at this. These are mountains, by the way, and this is the cave. So this person is going to be able to reflect on what is actually going on in this ecosystem. Is it still sustaining the 10-year plan? We cut through the snake, we let the smoke escape, get into the mind, because air, this is the symbol of the air. Air is representing the mind, and we get into the planner mode, which is aware of the fact that we are now in the stage of the fool, transitioning to the page. Fool going out into the world, experiencing the world, learning things, becoming at one point a page in order to eventually become a knight, but now still is a fool and has to trip and fall and try and then and come back to his home again, and etc. etc. The fool is, in my case, wanting to make quantity over quality, because we believe that okay, let's just read it. Because I don't believe in a perfect pitch system. Artists say artists say no one knows what they are doing. Just do it. Like, basically, Mac DeMarco, this album, My Old Dog or something like that, I believe, he just recorded in his bedroom by himself, alone, in like a week or something. Just do it. And so many artists have just said that, just embody that and just go with the flow and don't wait too long. But of course, you want to make money. So that is my goal with this project, to be able to set up this workflow of just being able to let go my creative energy without becoming a crazy artist that is irrelevant and consistently in this cycle and not ever getting out of that energy. Because what is happening here, we see this snake, and here we go actually out into the world, and it's slowly shaping a number 8, which is representing the exchange of energy. This is my suitcase, and this is the world, and I share something, I get something. I share something, I get something. I share something, I get something. And that is how we're building up momentum. Now, this part of the circle is not defined yet. This is the landscape of context. So it is actually still having to shape, having to include or exclude specific places or specific context, so to say. So, cave of preparation, land of context, exchange. Now, let's get to the next chapter. This guy over here, the planner, is the owner of the year planning, the reflective drawings like this. So whenever we are making a drawing like this, we are in this archetypical energy. Whenever we're actually making and preparing creative content like animations, illustrations, ceramics, etc., building on the car, we are in the developer energy. We are kind of in this creative flow. It's the energy of the Scorpio, which is in his creative cave, the hermit, the creative hermit, which gets really good at something, but is always in his creative cave and in the energy of water, creative water. This is the energy of air, the eagle, and it's the reflection. It's the person that is planning all the time, that's keeping the agenda, keeping track of things, keeping track of finance, maybe conscious choices such as extra study or another diploma that we should move towards, or a driver license because I can only ride a bike and a skateboard. Maybe some job along the way or something like that, and then making eventually the year planning and the 10-year planning. That is this character. Now, every character, we have 4 of them. We have air over here, it's the planner. We also have this planner and the observer over here. The observer documenting. The observer that's documenting is documenting what this guy is doing over here in the world, what this creative character, the developer, is trying out here in the world, is documenting that. So it's very meta. You know, whenever you have an Instagram influencer that is making a video on how they made something, you know, these time-lapse kind of videos and like meta reflective content on the thing that they made, like how to bake a cake, basically, right? All right, so that is what that character is doing, and this character also has a spirit animal, and that spirit animal I thought of being fun if it would be a giraffe. And why a giraffe? You see here the giraffe, because the giraffe has a really long neck. He is not as high as the eagle, which is totally above the mountains, above the cave, above the land. But it's a character that is standing on the ground, but has a really long neck, so we can see everything that is actually happening and document it. So this is another archetype. After we got from the Scorpio, we go to the lion. The lion is the action taker. He's bold, he's a fighter, he's a warrior. So the lion has a lot of courage and just goes directly like, yes, let's go. And then the lion transitions into the bear. And the bear is an animal that is eating everything. It's very self-sufficient, it's very strong, it's very grounded, very heavy, and it's just moving along through the context. And it doesn't matter where he gets invited, he eats everything. So he's just traveling around context, going from one place to another, eating and taking everything kind of for granted and liking everything. Now, that is dangerous because the bear can get eventually lost in the woods because it's so content all the time. And the eagle might at one point say to the bear, hello, wake up, wakey wakey. You have to make sure that you don't, we have a plan here. We have a 10-year plan. You cannot just go about because you're gonna maybe end up starving because the berries are finished at one point. So, this is a nice little doodle that I made that is kind of representing the dynamics. Here's the bear performing, here in the land, in the context, performing a juggling act on a unicycle. And the Scorpio which is all about the creative energy, is saying to the bear, like, no, wait, don't do your performance yet. We have to wait for the giraffe to be ready with the picture to document it, because otherwise you did it, but we didn't document it, and we cannot represent it again, which is going to be important to eventually get to, for example, crowdfundings and those kind of things, and digital representation. While the lion, who is all about courage, is already jumping with his drum rhythm, like, yeah, let's go, stimulating this bear to just go. And this is just the creative archetype within me, the bold archetype within me, that is constantly motivating me and reminding me, like, yes, let's move, let's just do it. And the bear is kind of like, okay, we're going already. But then the Scorpio, who is eventually going to transition into the eagle, is, whenever the time is right, is in fear of never becoming the eagle, because they went too deep into the ground and stayed too grounded as the bear that they became as a shape-shifting troubadour. So we have here this 4 different type of characters, and every character will be communicating to you through different media and platforms in different ways, with different type of content. Sometimes it will be a video like this where I just talk, and sometimes it will be some ceramic art piece, an exhibition, a musical song, a collaboration. Sometimes it will be a story that I tell on my Ceramic Spirits of Mother Earth account, using the ceramic spirits to explain some sort of narrative or some sort of perspective on something, be it meta or hands-on experience, first person. So every archetype and animal will have their own medium to represent how they look at things and how they see that things developed from their point of view. The Scorpio being this very isolated, secretive, intense developer of creative content and passion. Then the lion being like the fire and the passion to go and just move and show it, let's do it already. And then the bear, who's just strong and doing it and navigating through the world, going anywhere he can. And the giraffe, who is connecting, bridging that which is up in the sky, of the eagle, who's seeing everything from above with below, because he's very long, and documenting everything in order to kind of connect those worlds, in order to make this creative potential that is then brought to the land, the landscape of context, and look at it from an external perspective, document it, in order to then be able to use what happened here, this exchange, for the 10-year plan and a conscious system of troubadour lifestyle. I took you almost through all the symbols that I illustrated here. I'm gonna get back to keeping a diary while blinded. So the bear has very little oversight and overview because it's so low to the ground, but still it has focus. So what the bear should do while it's traveling with the troubadour car, without the troubadour car, with train, sharing its content of the suitcase, going by bike, the bear should keep a diary. Because that diary, you see the feather, it's like this. It's like a air energy. So even though the bear is not busy with the 10-year plan while he's in action, doing some performance somewhere, telling some story to some children somewhere, doing an exhibition with the ceramics somewhere, etc., the bear is keeping a conscious diary every day, like I do every day. And then whenever I get into the state of reflecting, I look back into my diaries. And I have been looking back into my diary, and that is how I made this incredible, complicated, visualization of what I'm actually doing as a crazy artist that I am. Now, another symbol that I wanted to get to is here. This is representing water and fire, and it's the ether, so it's the moment of creation. And this is actually a dangerous moment for me because this is the water of creative energy. And if I, along that river, get too inspired with new fire, new passion, new ideas, I will get a new idea. This is the element of air, but it's also like this, kind of looks like a wizard hat how I drew it. I'm not really happy with how it ended up, but it's like two eyes, and the line that is supposed to be straight, it's like a frowny face. So it's a new idea, but I'm already at a stage where I cannot do that. I cannot permit myself in the stage of graduation to start with something totally new, even though inspiration is coming every time again and again. So that is why it's important to build this car identity, troubadour car identity, with this documenting character, which is actually this character, in order to have a safe ecosystem of exchange and actually draw this line like right, so that these new things are kind of like excluded from the number 8, where I have my creative content, my creative universe. I externalized it enough and redeveloped it enough to understand who I actually am as an artist, what I have to offer, and what context it is most relevant to. I'm researching myself by making and publishing myself and reflecting on it while editing and documenting. Now, there are a lot of words, and I'm gonna see which words are nice to share with you and which not, before I spend another hour talking, going through all the words that there are. So, the bear energy, which is something quite funny to me. So, the bear energy is this character that is just marching. Okay, let me see. The bear is this animal. If you think about the energy of a bear compared to the eagle, both of them are animals that are hunting. So I want the whole objective of making such a meta reflection on what I actually do as an artist here, which is this is just a normal ecosystem of an artist, right? You have an idea, you start to develop it, you think about how to make money with it, how to make some crowdfunding, and you edit and document and etc. So if I were to just be an animator or just a ceramist, I could just do that for just easily. I just focus, I just go one way, right? But I want to have more flexibility, and flexibility comes with awareness and consciousness. Because if you are aware and conscious of something, it's easier to work with it and adapt. And in this world that's changing a lot, I want to remain flexible and don't build a career as a freelancer based on one career path and kind of try to bet all my money on one horse. That's not what I want to do. It's even going so far that I want to build a career outside of the creative industry. So I'm gonna be researching into the reason why I invested in digital currency and how to work with that further, and why I made other investments as well, and where to invest in even more to sustain myself and fund basically other creatives that are going to be suffering during the depletion of opportunities in the upcoming crisis. I want to make a passive income while remaining creative fluidity, because I believe creativity is the most important thing in the world. But the spirit has to be free and autonomous, because if a creative is, and this is my personal belief, if a creative is contextualizing themselves too early on, situating themselves and contextualizing themselves too early on. They're just doing nothing else than indoctrinating themselves, trapping their soul, and the development and stagnating the development of their true authentic self, because they are making something that is already aligned with a mindset and a culture within a specific context and for a specific audience. But it is important for creatives, because they're the most sensitive people on the planet, to explore and develop and externalize their true authentic selves with creative acts to the maximal degree, while being present in context, in real time, real life, organically adjusting what they do, how they are, how they act, what they create, resulting in cross-contamination, instead of this creative that's just preparing themselves to put themselves in the front of the stage and present this thing that will be liked by everyone perfectly, and then have a fruitful career. Or the other way around, which is this artist that becomes this hermit, like just does only what he does himself. Doesn't care about the outside world, is as poor as can be, but is just so into this belief that what he does with his art is the most important thing in the universe, etc. Which might be true, but it might also become irrelevant in one way or another. And because of the lack of connection with the real world, lack of this transition of going out of this bubble into the real world and resulting in cross-contamination, it is not valuable to anyone, sadly. Right. So the bear is just wandering around, going from place to place, and kind of imagine a bear who is also able to hunt, but the bear is only able to hunt on what they see in front of them. So they see it and they just march towards it, like rah! And that is dangerous for someone like me, because if I don't get to take this position of the eagle, which is a hunter that is able to select from a bird's point of view where they want to go, what do they want to eat, where do they want to invest their energy into, I would just end up maybe wasting a lot of energy and a lot of time trying to march and catch this one animal that I want to pursue, right? As a bear, this creative project, this opportunity, this whatever it might be. So that's why I want to get out of this circle and out of also the landscape that's below it, the context, and just like kind of navigating normally like a human, acting upon possibilities that occur in front of them. No, don't eat him. It's me, bear. Don't eat me. And also have this point of view of just above the mountains in the sky and look at what I do as a whole and complete thing. Now, there are these four elements that I like to work with, which is fire, which is the creative idea, it's the air of the reflection, it's the water, and it's the earth. Now, let's see. Yeah, the most important thing here is this image. Mapping out and networking. I'm gonna be making a visual map, which I already did one time before, like this, with illustrations, with me somewhere there, and all these different places of context, networks, connections, homes, communities, venues that I am able to navigate through as a multimedia troubadour, in order to be able to have this mental overview of possibilities. So imagine, which is not hard to imagine because it's actually true, I do wood sculpting, but I don't want to just put all my money into wood sculpting, all my time is money. I want to also do movie animation sometimes, but if I take on one movie animation project, probably another movie animation project is going to come from it, because people will know me for doing movie animations. And I want to be known as a holistic, creative artist and human being. Holistic, including all of my practices, values, beliefs, etc., and not having to put those to the side just because I have this role of the artist that is an animator. I want to also be able to share, for example, lectures and workshops on how to create a more sustainable and aligned life in relation to your heart and your soul. And the soul is something that's very important to connect to, because many people don't even remember that they have one. And I can tell you something, your soul, which is actually this character that's observing you from above and all of your life and all the things that you're doing, is looking at you every day and is having to forgive you for all the times when you didn't choose the optimal scenario, when you didn't choose love, is forgiving you for all the things that you're doing wrong and celebrating with you all the moments you are doing something right and truly, truly loving and passionate. And connecting with that energy in your life, wow, things that come from that are unbelievable. Anyhow, we're all connected to our soul because it's there, of course, outside and within us. But it's just nice to be conscious of it, because it gives the ability to kind of get out of this rat race and remember that we are also to observe our life and the things that we're doing and the things that we're experiencing in our body and in our mind. Even our mind is not our soul. Our soul is even able to observe our mind and our thoughts and our anxiety and I have to go there, I have to do this, and now you. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere now. So, after I have mapped out my networks and context, I am able to reflect on everything that I've created and I have made and refine it, define it, and represent it. Represent it again, present it again, represent it. And then from that, I will make some sort of crowdfunding advertisement. So I will be showing to the world, because I proved it, what the value is of such a practice as a multimedia troubadour, what kind of projects I do, why I do it, what my motives are, which you'll learn all about, why I choose to do so many things unconditionally, why I choose to struggle with positions that a lot of people are not aware of, the value of it in daily life, enriching the street life, for example. Whenever you come across a street musician, which is often looked upon as people that are not willing to participate in society, but for me it's different. I just like to give some unconditional high-end entertainment. But how to tell that story? I have to tell it by crossing borders, by crossing different context and relativating the things that we do. Because a really big problem in our day and age is these bubbles that we live in mentally. Our identity bubbles, our social bubbles, our social media bubbles, our working bubbles, our social economical bubbles, making us believe that we are all different than one another and that we cannot connect over most things, that we cannot agree about most things. But I am going to show, as a multimedia troubadour, bringing all the things that I've collected in my suitcase to different types of context, how to actually cross from one bubble to another, cross-contaminating our beautiful, beautiful world and society, and bringing everything and everyone a little bit more closer together in the energy of connection, creativity, connection with ourselves, our soul, and love, which is eventually just nothing more than connection and makes everyone dance like this. Oh! All right. Let me see where I am at. That which I was telling, that story just now, is from the point of view of this character of the giraffe. Remember what the giraffe represents. And it's the story of liquid gold. Some of you might have heard me speak about it. Half a year ago, sorry for switching the camera so many times, about half a year ago, I said that I was going to graduate with this story of liquid gold, and I made a video on my Instagram. My Instagram is hacked, but I'm back. I'm gonna be back on Instagram. Liquid gold, you can look it up what it means, and you will see when this project is when the art performance of my life will be shared on the internet and cyberspace. So liquid gold is like this bird view, external from what I do within the realm of the earth, going from one context to another. Now I have all these creative ideas which are kind of like documented here. I have all these books which are in my room with all these creative ideas which I'll be developing in order to bring it out into the world. What do we see here? Diary, chalkboard, stories. You might have seen a story of mine where I explained something with a chalkboard, soul connection, God awareness of God, numerology, holistic health, system, corruption, the Antichrist, numerology again. Those are all things that are a little bit outside of this bubble and completing the context of this lifestyle of the multimedia troubadour and the kind of approach towards life and the motivation to bring those things into the world, because the world needs more connection with spirituality, because it's not excluding our understanding of reality as it is right now, but just completing and enriching and making our life more manageable and understandable. Also, we need to become more aware of, there's a lot of things, but you will see in my art what it is all about. So my graduation project will not be about the art projects that I do, but it will be about the reflection on all the art projects that I do and how I bring it to there, how I observe that, how I represent it, and then eventually am able to present myself because I externalize myself enough, tuning myself in real time to the context, anticipating on opportunities, and then being able to understand who I am, where can I go, where do I need to go, where do I like to go, where do I like to walk. As a bear, with the consciousness of the bird, with this 10-year plan. So the final product of my graduation will be a 10-year plan of my life, which might be hard for you to believe right now, as crazy artistic as I explained it right now to you. But I will tell you, I'm curious if this is seeming obvious, what I explain, or totally arbitrary. Because to me, it sounds as logical as could be. But before I made this drawing, it was the biggest mess ever. But because of the power of visual metaphors, like the bear, I am able to connect to this archetypical energy whenever I'm creating something in a specific, with a specific objective. Instead of having all these things clustered together, like when am I actually representing my own hero's journey? Because this is literally my dream. The things that I just described is my dream. It has been given to me. It has been granted to me. All of my life has been providing me with tools to actually fulfill this path and fulfill this dream. This is my dream, and my dream, my hero's journey. This is my hero's journey that I will be documenting and sharing, that I will be telling. I'm starting out as the fool, and I'm very aware of it. Nobody will understand. A lot of people will not believe. Just enjoy the ride of it. I'm gonna become a page, After the page, I will become a knight, representing exactly the things that I want to present and serving the kings that I like to serve. Eventually, I become a wise man, I become a king, etc., etc. Myself, I'll be able to facilitate other knights and host them to march as an army of connection, creativity, and love into the world. That is my objective. That is my dream. That is my goal. And you try your best to formulate your dream as well as I did right now. With the help of visual metaphors, we come a long way. Thank you, visual metaphors. Thank you, Bear Glove. Thank you, all the animals that I used as analogies. Thank you for providing me with the ability to, like I said, create something in a specific mindset, knowing, okay, now I am the bear. I only have to do diarying. I don't have to document anything in another way, because afterwards I will be able to reflect on my diaries, on the things that I did as a bear in the state of the eagle. I'll be able to bring it back to my Scorpio face, tune it, adjust it, etc., and not get them all wrong and all mingled into each other. Because that is the mingling of it, and the mixture of visual styles and visual content, like ceramic videos, like animations, chalkboard explanations, movies like I make right now that you're watching. The mingling of that is keeping me from actually building something sustainable, building something structured. And then what happens is this smoke signal comes. The smoke signal, whenever water of the creative flow that I'm just casually floating on with my little boat on the river, all of a sudden comes together with like fire, a new idea. There's like this smoke signal, a new idea, a new thing in the mind, in the air is there, and then it gets all like, so there are these different places that I can stay in. This is the cave underneath the surface, this is the surface, this is the air, and the creative in the cave. There's the water energy that's flowing, and in the earth energy I get some fire inspiration. I get like inspiration from the context that I go to, and bring it back to this place to do my alchemical kind of mixture of water and fire in the right manner, in the right way, to not have like uncontrolled chemical explosions like a crazy scientist. I'm a crazy artist, as you can see. Okay, time to act normal again. So I'm gonna go about the rest of my day. 52 minutes is shorter than I thought it would take to explain all of these things. I didn't read the little letters. Always read the small letters on your contract, people. Always read the small letters on your contract. I'm not gonna show you this contract of my dream, the small letters. That is private. But I love you. Ciao, ciao.